Bob Iger has been fighting to raise the Disney stock price for years now, while activist investor Nelson Peltz has been wondering what the problem is over there. Well, it turns out that Bob Iger just sold $40 million or more worth of Disney stock. Is that a good sign? Is that a bad sign? Let's talk about that with clarity here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place. And right there, over on the right-hand side of the screen, is Mr. Vash Guy. Vash, how does it feel to be right?
Feels pretty good to be right, but I like being left occasionally.
Yeah. Let's talk about, before we talk about the situation with Bob Iger, you got to eat your vegetables before you get to the meat here. This is something that a lot of people are going to be very reactionary on one side or the other. We're aiming for right down the middle with this story. Disney stock hits 6-month high on streaming progress, upbeat financial guidance, and Wall Street analysts cheers. That's an excellent use of an apostrophe there because there's multiple analysts and all of them are doing their own cheers there. This one by Dade Hayes. The mouse is regaining its mojo on Wall Street. Disney stock at a bottom of 83.91 over the summer, roared back to life, posted a second straight day of significant gains after an upbeat earnings report Thursday morning. Shares gained 5.5% to close the session at 115.08 per share. They gained 27% in 2024 to date. Even more when you count where they were at the proxy fight of the previous year. You know, there was a little bit of a drop off there. By the way, it's at 114 as of the recording of this video. There's some reasons for concern at the company, yes. And if you follow That Park Place, you might be aware of many of those concerns here. But Wall Street is very focused on the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of money, and Inside Out 2 made a lot of money. Moana 2 looks like that's going to make a lot of money as well. It was kind of funny on CNBC. Hugh Johnston, the CFO of the company, which is a guy that I tell you what, I like him more every single time I hear that guy talk. He was asked just how profitable that big Mufasa movie is going to be because they remember how much money The Lion King made in 2019. And he said he wasn't going to speak to the specific values that any movie was going to make. And then he immediately went into the big projections for Moana 2. So I think they kind of know that Mufasa probably not a big winner for the company. But of course, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the big win for Bob Iger. Something happened on a Tuesday in November here in America. And then all of a sudden, the entire market started to go up and up and up. And that moment is when Bob Iger decided to sell his stock. Iger adopted the trading plan on August 14th that allows for the potential exercise of his vested stock option. So he did decide several months ago that he was going to sell. Disney CEO Bob Iger is planning to sell some of his shares in the company. According to regulatory filing released Thursday, Iger could sell as many as 372,000 shares, which he had acquired as part of his vested stock options with a share price of $110.33, which, it's a little bit above that now. That would amount to up to 41 million if all the shares were sold. It'll be more than that, by the way, when it comes down to it, if things keep going how they're going. I've heard, and again, just want to remind everyone, no financial advice on this channel ever. Do not follow financial advice from YouTubers and definitely not from me. I don't have any Disney stock, and that is for a very good reason. Per the filing, Iger adopted a trading plan on August 14th. They're just repeating the same amount here. Bob Iger and his wife Willow Bay bought a ladies soccer club, which, that's something you could invest in, I suppose. Not quite my cup of tea as far as investment opportunities. Again, no financial advice ever. But Vash, does this mean that Bob Iger has no faith in the Walt Disney Company?
I don't think so. Apparently, this is part of an agreement that was made in advance in order to sideline any insider trading that could go on. Apparently, the SEC has some requirements regarding this whole thing. It just so happens that it happened to all kind of hit at the right time, from what I understand. And we saw the S&P 500 and also the Dow Jones go up immediately following what happened on that fateful Tuesday in November. But we were kind of surprised that the Walt Disney Company, while it was going up, wasn't going up commensurate with some of those with the stock market in general. But now that S&P 500 and Dow Jones kind of leveled off, but Disney continues to climb. I think that's to do with the optimism for the company. Disney Plus, for example, they're going to be implementing a lot of features and things in order to not only get more subscribers, but to retain them and more targeted them
Right.
and all of that. So all of these things seem to be happening kind of all at once
Yeah,
right here.
and
That's
it's
kind of
it's one of
interesting
those
thing.
things that has always hacked me off, the quarterly focus on all of these releases here. The fact that they have put 10 to 15 billion dollars into making Disney Plus work, but now the positive thing is that they've made 250 million in a quarter or something like that from the combined Hulu and Disney. I know anyone who watches this channel is probably tired of me pointing out how Disney is hiding the ball there, but it does go to show that if you pay attention over time, you do start to see cycles. In this instance, the thing that I want to make sure everybody knows is that this is how Bob Iger gets paid. This is the only way, not the only way, but a large portion of how Bob Iger gets paid. If you want to play the game of spot the lie, there's a really easy one. Like when companies go through an economic downturn at the company themselves, sometimes they will like to say things like, well, I am going to lower my salary. And if they have a stock-based compensation, if they have a performance-based compensation, then that doesn't affect them as much to say that I'm going to give away my $100,000, $250,000 a year salary. It's probably not that much for Iger. It's probably much higher, in fact, for Bob Iger. The other thing is that Disney is they're moving in the right direction here. So I think that there's a high chance that Bob Iger, after watching this earnings call, listening to this earnings call, I do think that Iger is showing signs that he actually wants to leave because he is no longer the most energetic person on these earnings calls. He jumped in at times where it actually seemed more awkward. Any of the things that he was saying, they seemed to be focused in a more grown-up way, because there used to be that pixie dust model for these earnings calls where they tried to talk about new announcements and things that they were going to be doing at the theme parks. But I have to wonder if maybe I'm going to include myself in the Valiant Renegade WDW Pro section here, if maybe we have helped to knock some of the pixie dust loose here to where they actually have to talk about the finances of the company and get real questions about the finances of the company. But Vash, I think you've got something you want to throw in here about how maybe this isn't as lucrative for Bob Iger as it has been in the past.
Yes, I do want to bring that up. This article from Deadline actually goes back to June 7th, 2021. Bob Iger sells more than $90 million worth of Disney shares by Joe Goldsmith. You would have thought, oh, well, he sold a ton of shares in order to make that. Well, kind of, but there's a reason why he didn't have to sell quite as many. Iger unloaded just over 600,000 shares, with most priced between 178 and 179. Oh, that's a big, stark difference between that and what the 110 that was featured in your article, Jonas. And yes, it might move up incrementally, but when you were talking about the financial state of the company, that 5-year high, let's say, of the stock price, well, we're quite a ways from that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, Jonas, not quite as lucrative as it has been in the past.
Right. The bottom, I think, is 83.91 over the last 52 weeks, which, I think it's even been lower than that. I think were they sub 80 for a brief moment. I think they got down to like 76, no, 77.52 according to Yahoo Finance. And that was in October of 2023. So it's been a wild swing here. That is a 50% increase in the value of the company if we go back to October of 2023. So the 1 year range, but they want to start it in January for some reason. Whatever, to each their own. I look at this and I see this is something that happens all the time anyways. And those windows there, for anybody who is not aware of it, is to make sure that the executives in a company are not engaging in insider trading. They're setting a trade to happen at a certain price and then making a big announcement that sounds like it's going to move the stock price up, or knowing that something bad is about to hit and going ahead and selling their stock before that hit happens. And the windows there are specifically designed to prevent insider trading.
We would never, Jonas, announce something like a JV or something in order to get some kind of result. That's
Well, at least,
wild. Jonas. Or
well, at
maybe
least,
a deal with Epic.
yeah, you're right. You're right. And I just want to I want to point out that was specifically to move the stock price, but it was not to move the stock price within the window that he announced to the SEC that he was planning on making trades. So yeah, that Fubo thing is even more of a disaster. And by the way, it seems like Warner Brothers and the NBA have settled one of the things that jeopardized that Fubo deal a little bit there. Also, we probably should do some kind of update on Fubo at some point because the DOJ, it seems to be agreeing with Fubo. But Bob Iger doesn't care because that announcement has already done everything it needed to do for him. We're going into a little bit more of an educational type show here on this particular video. So let us know in the comment section down below if this is the kind of thing that you like to see on this channel. Like this video, of course, if you like this video. We don't know what kind of videos you like. We know what kind of videos we want to make. And if those happen to line up, yeah, we'll do more of those. With that being said, thank you so much for being here, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.